Well, it's a very big happy birthday to us on Unplugged. We celebrate 2 years. It's amazing how quick that's gone, and given everything that's happened in the world in that time, it was an idea that was sort of in the wind for quite some time. And when it came together, it was just after Alan Richardson had been sacked as coach back in 2019. And within a month or two of that, unfortunately, we were beset by tragedy as well with the passing of Danny Frawley. So it was a highly eventful an emotional start, but it's been great. We had to start recording from home, which is something that we've enjoyed, and it gave us a chance to interact via video with our favourite guests. But it's probably just more those names. I mean, my four favourite footballers of all time are probably Harvey Hayes, Aussie Jones, and Jason Heatley, and we've had a chance to speak to all four of them on the podcast, which has been terrific. So that's been my memory. We're like all of you that listen. We're just big fans of the footy club and get the chance to speak to heroes that we watched play footy, and that's the joy of the experience for me.
Yeah, similar for me. I think, I remember that first week, and we'd spoken about doing something for probably 12 to 18 months beforehand, just as an idea, and never really kind of got the motivation or, the concept down pat, and just never did it. And then that week, I remember, Richo was sacked on was it the Monday or the Tuesday or whatever, and that night I think there was just a group chat, and one of you said, let's just go do it. Let's just record something. And I remember going to the bedroom. I had a 1.5 or a 2-year-old at that stage, and I remember sitting on the bed, with the headphones in, just on the phone, talking to you guys and just chatting footy and chatting about Richo and chatting about where the club was at and that sort of stuff. And never in, a million years did I imagine that we'd still be here, 2 years later, and with the type of audience and engagement and community and whatever that we've kind of built over the couple of years. So that's just organically kind of happened. But in terms of a favorite type of moment, Spider Everett was our first guest, in the third episode that we did, I think it was, and just was so much fun to do, and I think just solidified the start of this program and kind of where we headed, and was just so much fun. And you look at the guests that we've had on the show ever since, and you mentioned a few of them, but we had Barry Breen talking about Cowboy Neil and Stuart Trott, best and fairest from the 70s, and just some of the absolute greats of the game in Robert Harvey and Stewie Lowe and Nathan Burke. Just these guys that were heroes of mine and ours, and just idols growing up, and still are. It's kind of amazing that every week we sit down on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday night, and we have one of these guys on, and we just get to chat footy and the Saints, and it's just it's one of the best parts of my week. So it's just great.
Just talking to the players, that going back to the day at Waverley, going down to the bench, sitting on top of the concrete pillar and leaning over the edge with either a footy card or the record or whatever, and getting their autographs and that sort of thing, and then jumping forward to now and talking to them about those times and thinking just how long ago that actually was. It's crazy to think that it's 25 years ago for some of these players that we were watching play there, and more for some of them, and even in that case. And sort of thinking back and going, the numbers I had in my jumper, I think we've spoken to every player whose number I had in my jumper, except one so far. So hopefully there'll be one that'll be in the can at some point. So we'll definitely look forward to getting plenty more on, and just keep working at getting the players that everyone remembers, and even I guess some of the current players like we've spoken to as well in the off season, or there was a couple last year in lockdown or in the bubble, I guess, and even talking to, as not one of the bigger names, but an NFL player who's Aaron Sipos, sitting over in the US, playing another sport now. So the variety that we've been able to pick out as well has been it's been great, and just many different aspects, and many, like Climmy last week as a supporter, he was no different to us as a supporter growing up. So it's just thinking that we're sort of in the same situation as him, but obviously he's gone off on his own and excelled in another area. But back in the day, he was just like we were, turning up to the ground and cheering these players on that we've spoken to, and it's great to get them back down to that position and talking football with them.
I think, yeah, it's probably you mentioned at the start, Parker, about Spartan, and that was only kind of a month or two after we started the show. But yeah, I think it's an important thing to mention that, you know, had that unforeseen tragedy not happened, that Spud would have probably been, I think for all of us, probably one of the favourite chats that we would have been able to have. I know I was lucky enough to spend a little bit of time with him, not a lot, but a little bit of time. I know you spent some time with him, Parker, as well, and just the breadth of knowledge and understanding and wisdom and humanity in that man was amazing. And I would have loved for him to be a feature guest on this program, and unfortunately, we'll never get to have that opportunity. But yeah, I just kind of had to mention that because that would have been another dream come true.
Yeah, it's a retrospective regret for sure. I mean, he would have done it for sure in a heartbeat, and it was one that I had on the list thinking, oh, that's you can plug that in whenever you want. But no, you can't, unfortunately. So yeah, it's one of those ones that there's many sad layers to that as well, but it would have been great to get an opportunity to share and bring you some of that joy that he always did bring in with those conversations. But it's been a tremendous couple of years, and obviously the journey the club's gone on has been a roller coaster as well. So long may that continue, and here's to another 12 months.